welcome. I'm so excited to get into today's video. As we're going to get into is kind of a fun build challenge for myself, but also mainly for our Disney Princess challenge. And if you aren't watching that, that's a-okay. But if you want to and you're curious about it, definitely check out my other YouTube channel or watch us and join us live every Tuesday and Wednesday on my Twitch account. We do our Disney Princess challenge. It's been so much fun. But that's besides, well, I guess that's not besides the point. I was about to say that, but it is our neighbors that we're going to fix up their house because they have currently a lot of kids and not enough room. So I think without further ado, let's hop into the house and check out what we got. Okay, as you can see, this family lives literally right across the street from Aurora. They are two sisters, which I don't know how this happened, but two sisters and a bunch of kids, some infants and whatnot. And the family tree was crazy to look at. I was trying to figure out like how it worked and how it functioned and whatnot, but literally I feel like every time I clicked on it, it got more weird. I don't know if anybody has played this long in a challenge, but I feel like with story mode and everything, and then with the Black Widower challenge, be the first challenge in this Let's Play, being like this, it was pretty messed up. But as for the house itself, it was nice, but I ended up demolishing it just because it wasn't enough space. I wanted to be able to create my own layout and whatnot. But I did want to replicate the external design, so I tried to get that as much as possible from the original design and whatnot, just because I felt like it fit the neighborhood. As for what it looks like in the end, it does change a bit, but not too much. So I kept the different layered roofing and whatnot with the exterior of the build. It does change a bit in the end, but that was just because I thought it looked a little wonky later on. I mean, as you can see, I just kind of whoop all the way up, and then I just slowly adjusted to see how it fit. I did set the walls to medium. I just felt like it would look nicer, not as short. I don't know. I haven't done a build with just short walls in a minute. I feel like I've been doing a lot of medium heights or tall heights, mainly probably because I like personally large windows. But for this one, I tried to stick to minimal windows and whatnot. But here we are adding in the little, I guess it'd be a fireplace, but I didn't put one in the house, mainly because I was trying to base this off of I know nothing about building. I want to preface that first. But I was trying to base it off of a few images I got from Google. We love Google here. For a California home interior. To say that this is one is a stretch because I feel like someone's going to be like, yeah, that's not. But I tried. I really did try. I used a couple references. Nothing too much. But the exterior, obviously, I replicated the one that was originally designed and whatnot, but the interior is what I replicated from a couple of interior photos. Nothing exact, but tried as much as possible. And as for the back, my husband said it looks kind of like a pool house because I do end up adding a pool. I don't know what it is, but I thought the extra space was kind of needed, and I ended up making a couple different things, and we'll see the layout in a second. But it was just kind of rough because personally I didn't want to update this house again. And I didn't want to do anybody dirty in the sense of like, oh, an infant ages up to a toddler, they don't have a bed anymore, or a kid ages up to to a teenager and they don't really have a spot to sleep at. I mean, obviously I do eventually make it to where I have like one of each, so even if they age up, maybe one of them doesn't technically have a bed, but they do have the resources for that age group to be able to like suffice. At least I hope I did. Probably missed some things just because the space was very liminal, and definitely two sisters with a bunch of kids was not originally meant to be living here, but they somehow made it work. I like to think it's very like a family oriented house. A bit of clutter, but not too much, because I'm trying to not go too crazy with clutter as much anymore, because I feel like I personally get a little overboard. I don't know. I love clutter so much, but then it kind of messes up with gameplay, or, you know, things move and it gets bugged out, and oh my goodness, you add a pet to the house and then they get stuck there. So I don't know. I'm just trying to make it so I don't have to deal with those circumstances of having to reset all the time with mods and whatnot. Because it isn't ideal for everybody who downloads it. Although I personally did not restrict myself with this pack. I did sometimes. I was just like, okay, let's stick to certain ones. But for some things, I believe the bricks currently on the fireplace chimney spot is from high school years, and I'm pretty sure I only restricted myself sometimes, so I'm pretty sure you guys will see different items for different packs. I think I used Parenthood. I think I used a kit or two just because it felt like it looked better, but I did try to minimalize the amount I do, at least recently. But I am not really pack restricting myself because I want to be able to have fun with the build, but at the same time, I don't want to feel I personally feel kind of overwhelmed going through all the packs, especially when I'm trying to do a certain style. And considering that this is in it is in base game world, I use basically base game exterior stuff such as like the roofing and the tiling and the plants and whatnot. Those are all base game because I was just like, okay, it would look a bit different if it's from some, from a different pack or something. So, but don't quote me. I mean, obviously, I use the high school bricks. I do believe that does change, so you'll probably see that later. I just think I ended up realizing the brick would be better or something else. I can't remember. I think gosh, we'll see later. A lot of things change. I'm getting more comfortable personally with just building and having fun and building in the way that I do, because I think I personally, when building and trying to make it into content, is I get stuck thinking of other people build and how confident they seem when placing certain items. But I personally, I was like, I took too long, or I just like overthought a build, and right now I'm just like, okay, this looks good here, we're gonna place this here, we're gonna go over here, this looks good over here, oh, I don't really like that anymore. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but rather than being like, okay, this and this in this area, perfect, bing bong boom, I don't have to do that. So I've been really into building lately, and so this one was a lot of fun being able to build it per this family, and especially with the California home style based off the few images I had. Like, very minimal Google research. I really want to preface that because there wasn't a whole lot going on, but I did give the family, two of them, jobs and whatnot, just so they had their rooms based off of something. I believe one, I used a lot of Strangerville stuff because I put them in the military career, and the other one's artsy, but I didn't really do anything too specific. I just wanted to have some story, like, play within it, so when we do visit the family, I personally have an idea that I can latch onto, or at least stem from, where I don't feel like I have to create too much outside of that. Because I personally like lore, I like the drama, I like being able to have a sense of story, if that makes sense. So when playing these characters and visiting, I want to be like, okay, yes, these are these guys, she's in the military, how can we add to that? I don't want to add anything now because my gameplay is so chaotic. If you want to be a part of that, I definitely recommend, if you like chaotic gameplay or just Sims 4 gameplay in general, because we're having a lot of fun with it with our current gen, and we're currently moving on to Gen 5 of the Disney Princess Challenge, which has been a lot of fun. But I do post those all on the other channel if you ever want to check that out. I know I mentioned that a lot just because that is currently one of our largest Let's Plays right now. But within this house, back into this house, this lovely house that we're building, I honestly, like I said, I had a lot of fun. I ended up trying to make an infant room along with the toddler. The two sisters have their own room, which is nice. Three of the kids would share a room, and then one gets I believe one kid is older than the rest. So if I didn't really design it towards them. I kind of designed it towards the house and kind of ran with that. Because I originally made all of the adult beds the same bed, but different like colors and whatnot, or swatches, I guess. And so the room in the back in the little pool house, I guess, that was remodeled, ended up being just based off of that bed alone that I just fall in love with, and I just made it. I just ran with it. Doesn't necessarily match the kid. The kid's not even a teenager yet. So honestly, I was just like, the house can just deal, but at the same time, I wanted it to be a house that you can age with, if that makes sense. I don't know. It was just kind of something I ran with. I don't know if it personally will be right. I knew from the past, from not CCing up. Sorry, I'm so used to CAS. But from dolling up a house for a certain family, I would get ready for their current age. But then it wouldn't make sense later on. Like, I remember with our previous generation, Cinderella and all of her friends, they had a very kiddish room, but they all aged up. Some of them still lived at home, and their room was just like where they all slept together. Obviously, this one isn't necessarily like, all the T's are dotted, or what? All the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, but it does have it in the sense of where if they can still live, or they can, go from a certain gen to the next. So we got from infant all the way up to kid. Although I personally didn't add a lot, I did try to get creative with certain factors, such as like the changing table. I know there's only, correct me if I'm wrong, but Growing Together is the only one that comes with a changing table. So although I didn't restrict myself with the pack, I personally try to get clever with the changing table, which you will see eventually. But you guys will see that down the line. But as for, this is the first room we're doing. We're doing the little infant and slash toddler room, even though they have 2 infants currently. I just thought it'd be nice to have a spot for when they age up. And that is the first room. And then the room next to that is for the kids. And then the 2 rooms up front are for the 2 adults. And then the other kid will have to have the room in the back. In the long run, the only thing I feel like I personally wasn't certainly head over heels was the windows per se, because I was originally trying to look at the other houses, trying to figure out what kind of windows they had, but I couldn't necessarily figure that out. Also, the other thing I wasn't quite sure is the little, pool house or whatever it ended up being. It's just like a little extra area that I made. I didn't design it based off a pool house or anything like that, but I wasn't quite sure on the roofing, because all of the roofs, if you look in this neighborhood, have like this weird slantedness, but I kind of just left it like that because whenever I try to change it up, it just got weird because it's just a small little box, in the back. So I just left it like that. And as for the windows, I think the windows do change later on just because I was like, they don't really look good. They don't make sense. But just mainly on the little, I'm just going to keep calling it a pool house. Just for context, the pool house, the windows change. But as for windows overall, I think these mainly stay the same. My only thing with windows is I need to get better at reminding myself to finish adding windows, because I'll like add the initial windows, but as for the rest, I'm like, okay, let me wait. Let me get the, the layout, and then we'll, add windows. This time I try to add windows first and then change them around as the layout formed itself. Obviously the layout is currently done, but I hadn't added like, the kitchen, the living room, and also the door in the back. I haven't added that quite yet, so the layout changes a bit here and there. Right now I'm just kind of finishing the landscaping. I kind of like to figure out the layout and then get into landscaping. Sometimes I just kind of go back and forth. It kind of just depends, because I feel like the landscaping is very therapeutic, but also it kind of gives me an idea of the pathways and whatnot, an idea of like the general idea of the house, if that makes sense. Personally, I just like I just like landscaping. It's like one of my favorites. I just want to like go crazy, but at the same time I'm like, I need to stay minimal, because I feel like with too much it can definitely, you can definitely tell in the gameplay and whatnot. But I just want to be able to do landscaping with just enough to where it looks really good, but it's not overly done. Because I personally, with the grass at least, I like texture. I like the look of texture and whatnot. So I personally want to add like the tall grass, but obviously in the game, all the grounds are just completely flat, no extra texture. They have like the painterly design on the floor, and that's it. So with landscaping, my brain wants to go overboard, but I'm like, okay, let me try to tone that back. So that's another thing I'm trying to do more in my builds, which is why like I personally like a plant underneath the tree. I like a plant underneath a mailbox. I just feel like it gives it that extra, texture, I guess, or look of texture, or like life to the lot. But I don't know, it's just my personal touch to builds like this. But getting back inside, because I did flop him back and forth. I'm finally designing like the little kids area. I wasn't quite sure like what theme, because I wasn't trying to base it off of certain kids. I was just like, I just want this to be the kids' room. I was gonna eventually do 4 beds, but then I thought a desk would be nice, so the kids can have a desk they can utilize for homework. I added, as you guys can see, like the bookshelf, from a little arts and crafts table to the dollhouse. So they have some activities to do. I also add stuff to the pool house back there where they can do activities. Also, so the adults can have some stuff to do too. So the house is definitely like full. It has stuff going on, because I do want my kids to visit. I want them to be able to like go to this lot like we did previously, but also for it to make sense. Because we visited this while all of the kids were toddlers. And one of them was a kid, and it was just chaos. Like, all they had was a dollhouse, and then literally there was food everywhere because my kids were trying to eat, and my kids are sloppy eaters in our Let's Play, and I was just like, I don't really understand this build in the sense of this family, so I'm very excited that I was able to finally doll up this area, and the kids can have a room to play in and whatnot, and go from there. And yeah, so that's that little area, and moving on from there, I believe we go on to the next room, or I can't remember. I think that's the thing with my builds, is I go from decorating one thing to the next thing, and I'm like, ooh, this would look good here. I was mainly just trying to cover the walls because I feel like in a kid's room and like I don't know for sure, but like I feel like they have a lot more going on. They got more clutter. So I try to do that in the sense of at least in art because I feel like, I guess it's because I'm, as an artist, I feel like blank walls just don't necessarily look right. So I like to cover the walls even if they're not necessarily complete. But finally, here we go. This is where I show off, like, where I'm trying to attempt to do a makeshift changing table. Obviously, I was trying to do a rug originally, like, something that looks cushiony, like, pillowy, like, you'd want to put your kid on there. But, unfortunately, for this family, at least, they will have to end up using, you know, their own. Maybe they pull one out of the drawer and put that down for their kid. But I have that little makeshift using 2 different dressers. I think the one's from, I can't remember the first one, but I know the other one is from Eco Living because I can recognize the texture of the tile. But that was that. Now moving on to the kitchen. This is definitely where I originally start really pulling out my references because I was like, okay, I want the kitchen to look like a California kitchen, and that's where I started being like, okay, I need actual references. So I pulled up some, and it was like an all white kitchen. My only issue and what took me so long to get this kitchen going was because I was like, I don't like all white. When I see all white, I just think, like, I'm going insane, like a insane asylum, like, type of area, like, when everything's white. There's, like, this boba tea shop near us, and everything's all white. Their uniform is, like, a science suit, or I think it is. I don't know what it is. I can't remember. But I just felt like, I just remember being like, I don't like it here. I'm so uncomfortable. So that's why I try to add, like, the color tiles in the back from the colored stove, the colored shelves. And then that's why I also use the Island Living, bar table, stools, what, cabinets or whatnot. I originally just used the cabinets, but I just realized later on that they weren't the actual bar stool ones. So I changed those out, but they are the Island Living ones because they have the white tops, but also brown shelving alongside of it, or like, I don't know, the legs to it at least. So it adds a sense of color, so it's not too much white. Because I personally just don't want all white. All white just, like, there's just looking, I don't know. It was looking wonky to me. I changed that, and that's kind of the reason why there's the mismatch from the shelves, stove, and also the bar stools. Which, as you can see, I fill up the shelves, but then I have to swap them out eventually, which wasn't too much of a hassle. I didn't overly clutter it. I just added a few things so it looked like they had some stuff on there, like from the pots, the plates, I think there's like some seasoning packs and whatnot for bits and bobs of clutter, just to make it feel a little more bit full and used and whatnot. Although the Sims, I just wish they allowed us to place things wherever we wanted on a shelf, but without having to move things or like get like technical with it, because I'm fine with doing that sometimes, but other times I'm just like, oh, so much work for such a small thing. But we were able to do it. I mean, especially considering this is a house that I plan to occasionally visit. But honestly, I love this house a lot. I feel like it just looks uniform for once in my life. I'm kidding. It looks like it has an idea and a concept, and I followed it. I mostly followed it, at least. So here we go. I ended up changing it out because, as you can see, I realized I was not using the ones where you can set up bar stools at. The only downside I want to say to this household is that they do eat at this area. They don't have an actual dining table because the space is minimal. I do add like the seating. There's not technically enough seating for everybody now that I think on it, but it does. It has, I guess. I don't know. I didn't really think about that till now. Now that I'm looking back on it, I was just like, okay, that looks complete. Let's move on. But either way, it kind of makes me sad, but I really wanted a living room. I was like, I can't go on without a living room. So that's why I started changing up the shape of the place, but I didn't actually end up adding a dining area. Maybe I should add something out in the back or something for everybody to sit at, because it's kind of sad. Only technically 3 seatings and a toddler seat, considering there's at least 5-6 people from kids on up living here. I don't know. And then 2 infants. Oh god, they don't have a table. You'd think they have a table for family. It's such a family oriented place. I don't have a table. That's gonna bug me now, guys. Oh god. It's okay. Like I said, that's why some parts are like a bit oddball. I feel like I made it work. It just kind of sucks that they can't all eat together though. But moving on, I guess, to the bathroom. Something I'm personally trying to get better at, because I watch in other builders, is that in the sense of gameplay, not covering up certain walls where you have to like turn the camera completely to see. So that's why the bathroom I shaped it that way, matching the door. It just makes things when you're playing to click on the certain items a bit easier. Although there's certain parts of this build that I didn't do that. Like I think one of the mirrors in the bedroom, or both of the mirrors in the bedroom, I just made them face each other so it didn't look too wonky. But still usable, in my opinion. But I'm trying to get better at the layouts of stuff. The layout of this house kind of just made itself. But I think this is kind of the point where I realized I don't have a living room and it kind of sucks. So I start changing the shape of the house. I was like, can I make this room smaller? But then I had the issue of the front of the house having that weird shape. And then I think without actually changing that back, I tried making the kids' room even smaller. But then I was like, okay, even if I do that, I can't necessarily use that space. Although now that, you know, I'm realizing that I don't have a dining table, it would have been nice to use that extra space as a dining room. But I'm kind of glad because, I don't know. Either way, the build ended up being nice in my opinion. I just kind of wish I left the room smaller and left a dining table there. But I already maxed out the room. I made it the little artsy room for one of the parents. But let me know what you guys think. Should I give them a dining table? I'm doing them dirty, aren't I? I'm doing this so dirty. They can't eat together as a family. But I guess if they all are super busy, one of the sisters' moms is in the military, so I'm assuming they work a lot. And the other sister is in the art career. Then they got, 2 infants in the house, and then they got the 4 kids, one almost a teenager in the house. I don't know how many dinners they'd be having together, but I feel like they would at least like a spot technically to have one. Or maybe they eat at the couch. Maybe when they design their area, they're like, whatever, we'll be fine. We'll eat I don't know. What household doesn't have a dining? This is gonna bug me. This is gonna bug me so much. But, moving on to the living room that I finally made space for. I'm so sorry, guys. I feel like I'm not only doing the family dirty, I'm doing you guys dirty. It's an incomplete build. No dining table. What the heck? I've heard of people freaking trash cans and stuff, but a whole dining table. It's okay. It's okay. But moving on to the living room, I just kind of wanted to match this between the style of the home, but also the kitchen. Just kind of making it blend together. So I was trying to pull out the green from the stools because I chose those stools because they had like the orange and the tan color. I fell in love with them. So I was like, let me try to pull the green into the living room by finding the couch. Thankfully, the book nook kind of had one. I did want to add another chair because I was just like, the 2-seater technically is not enough for a family. But I had to make it to where they could still get in that, go outside and whatnot. So that's why I chose that beanbag and whatnot. Now, I'm kind of getting into like the final details, the walls and whatnot. I still got to finish the rooms and I still got to finish the little outhouse. Right now, I'm just like, wanting to fill in the living room, make it a little more sense. Which made me realize I really did not like the TV stand. This is where I feel like I'm getting more into enjoying building because I'm no longer like I said, like I pick an item and I'm like, that's the one, it's set. But I'm being like, okay, I want to change it. I want it to match a bit more. And it feels more like, a puzzle coming together, if you know what I mean. But either way, I absolutely love the way it turned out. I try to make like the hallway and the TV stand match. I don't know. I like certain pieces of furniture matching. I don't know if any household has that because I feel like you're slowly building the household as it goes. At least I'm currently, but when I'm building, like that sense of like they bought that furniture from the same place. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's why I use like the TV stand in the hallway area and whatnot. So now I'm currently just, like I said, trying to fill the walls and figure out what makes sense. But I think I did pretty good. I don't know if like all the pieces make sense, but considering they do have an artist in this family, I feel like they would personally like to have that sense of detail in the house. I don't know. They have the money too. They have the money. Like I still have 31,000 and I already kind of filled the house up. Or of the more important things, everything else beyond this is kind of just like what I feel like the Sims would want in this household. And honestly, I like it. I don't know necessarily if it'll help more with the story layout. I just felt like personally them having their rooms, certain bits and bobs of taste and story would help out, which is why eventually I do go into and adding them the jobs. I also check their traits to see what makes sense. I believe the military person is, dang it, I'm not gonna remember, am I? I know the artsy one is evil, I do believe, because I was like, I can make them into the evil career, but I was like, that doesn't really make sense. I do believe the military gal is super into fitness and something else. I think there's one of their traits that I was like, ooh, maybe they can be in the military. I can't remember why right now, and that kind of frustrates me. But this is their room, so I'm adding a lot of the Strangerville items from like the books, the lamp. I don't know why the lamp. I was just like, that's kind of cute. So I based the whole room off of that in the bed. And I like the look. I really do. I ended up adding kind of like more. I don't know what I feel like a teen boy room would have, but I don't know. I really love the look, and I kind of just ran with it. Let me know what you guys think. Is it too much of it like a teenage boy kind of living in this room more than a mom? I don't know. I added like little things like when I put on top of their dresser, I think I added like a bit of detail of like something of their kids. But either way, it is a full complete room. I love the aesthetic. I feel like it just kind of matches. But they each have like their own little space. She has like her desk. I feel like she'd want a personal desk in her office because if she's in the military and she's doing paperwork for them, doesn't want her whole family knowing about it. The artsy sister does have some room in the out pool house. But she also has some, like, I think like a chair. I can't remember. I know she has some of her art in her room. Her room kind of got small real fast because I wanted 2 table stands instead of just the one, like the current room I'm doing. So, which you guys will see eventually. My other issue was trying to find dresser room because I have a bookshelf, the computer and whatnot, and a table stand that it was kind of hard. So I ended up adding this. I guess the moms don't really care for clothing, or they just don't have enough money for clothing, considering they have so many kids and their dressers are so small. That's what I'm assuming, because they only have that, and I can only imagine trying to live with that much space. For clothing, at least. I don't know, I have a lot of clothing, maybe that's my issue, but they each only have that small dresser, and I feel like it's personally not enough, so I don't know what reason they don't have a whole lot of clothing, but that's all they personally have room for. So here is the artist sister, I don't know, sister mom, the one that's in the art career. She has more of a pink theme, although I don't know if her sim has any pink. I do need to CC up the family, I'm not gonna lie, because we did CC up the last stream before this recording, at least, but some of them I noticed aged up and whatnot, and I don't personally remember either of their fashion choices. I did go into their traits and added the job, but I didn't necessarily look into their sense of fashion, at least how we made it before. One, mainly because I just wanted to build this house, but 2, because when I chose their fashion, I think we were just picking whatever, because I was like, I just need them to be better than like they looked like they got dumped in a bunch of different CC. So I was like whatever we can find, either it's gonna be like the pre-made outfits to something I can quickly make, put together, because I feel like I personally get stuck in cast, and I didn't want to be stuck in this family's cast in case they did become an enemy, because we've definitely had that before in our series. I don't want to spoil too much or like get into it too much if you're not somebody who would want to look into it, or if you are somebody who wants to look into it and I'm just like spoiling the whole entire plot. But we've definitely had enemies after CCing them up, and although it was fun, we didn't really hang out with them a lot. We tried, but like their relationship got worse and worse, and especially since they added like likes and dislikes and what's it called, compatibility. My sims were just like, I don't like you. And then I have mods and whatnot. So I was like, okay, let's CC up this family without going too deep, which I don't know if anybody else relates to that, but I was just like, let's just get them to look decent. Let's go meet them, hang out with their kids, and hopefully this will work out. So far it is, but let's just say that the parents are way more busy doing their own thing than trying to get along. So we'll see how it goes. But I needed to doll up their house a bit better, because they are our neighbors at least. Like, worst case scenario, we live across the street from them. So even if we become enemies, we'll see their house occasionally. Hopefully one of the kids will get along. We have triplets right now. They have 5 kids? Yeah. Currently 3 kids and 2 infants. So 5 kids in that house. 2 adults, so hopefully one of them gets along with the other, but you never know with the Sims and how it works out, honestly. So as for the little doodads and whatnot, like I said, I went for the pink theme. I tried to put up a lot of art in here. I added like the yarn and whatnot in case they wanted to get into that. I added it on the wall to match. Just kind of like really cluttered and bits and bobs everywhere. We are nearing the end. Obviously I still have the pool house to do. I'm just adding little bits and bobs everywhere. But we're getting to the end of this build. I absolutely enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think so far. Or in the end, let me know what you guys think. Did I follow a theme per se? I don't know. Did I do them dirty without a table? Like, I had another one of those. I didn't add a table. They have like the bar stools, but is it really enough for this house? I don't know. Let me know. Be honest. Be brutally honest with me. How dirty did I do them? But moving on to the back area, this is kind of where I said this is like a community area. I wanted to add like the military thing where she can work out, the painting area. I definitely wanted to add another bathroom because considering how many Sims are in this house, you're gonna want more bathrooms, especially with kids. You're gonna need that bathroom space, and I mean even just adults, because then they all gotta use the toilet at the same time, and you're like, what the? Why, Sims? Why? And then you got like the infants and the toddlers, and then whatnot. So I was just like, let's make sure we can add 2 bathrooms. That's kind of another reason why I added the back space. The pool house in general is for that. My only sad part was because I couldn't set up this bathroom how I personally like to make things, where you can see it all on one line. As you can see, I have like the toilet and sink facing the tub, so your Sims can still get in there, but it's not ideal for eyesight for like gameplay when you want to click on things, or if you want just to view what your Sims are doing and like looking at per se. It's not ideal, but I made it work. It's okay. As for the bedroom, which is what we're turning to, this is how I fall in love with that current that bed, the red bed. I don't know why. I think I was just like, let's just run with it. It looks nice, and let's see what we can get. I personally changed the floor because I don't know why, but I felt like the floor just needed to be different, so I made it the carpet that I used in the infant room. Don't know why they put carpet in here. Maybe it's because it's cooler since it's the pool house. So whatever reason it is, that's why they have that in there. And I changed the wall, even though it's another wood type. I just wanted a darker wood to match the bed. Don't know if that makes sense per se, but I personally liked it. And as for the other items I added like a closet, one of the, what is it called? Dream Home Decorator ones, just because as little as the other dresses are, that one's the tiniest. So I was like, we need something else. So I add those up top, have some clothes hanging down. And I end up using the what's it called? What's the newest pack? The Horse Ranch pack, because bedstand, because I felt like it could overlap with the bed without actually going in it, if that makes sense. So I thought that one was perfect. I'm pretty sure there probably is other options similar to that. I don't know for sure, because I'm not that much into building. I'm trying to get into building. I'm trying to get good at building. I'm in the building, but I'm trying to get good at it. There we go. So I don't know what items, and I don't have favorite items quite yet. Although I feel like I'm slowly forming favorite items. I just don't know what they are quite yet. I feel like I have a few that I've been using a lot. I think there's like a rug that I've been using. I don't know what else. I feel like there's quite a few. I think the bathroom toilet, I've been using the one with the wood backing, because I like the different added color on there. I don't know why, but that's the one I've been doing a lot. I also personally add extra TP in the bathrooms. I do usually use the plungers, but this time I didn't, because I felt like I didn't want to add the extra clutter in case the bathroom stopped working because of the plunger or something. So yeah, I think we are coming to the end. I got a few more pieces I'm just adding just to tie this little community area. I had like little a jumping thing and a ladder for the pool and whatnot later, which I don't know if I record, but either way, I'm so excited to show you guys the final tour. I feel like you guys got a good glimpse of it, so we'll just do a quick tour and whatnot. Watch me find something, hopefully not. I feel like I haven't been finding things as much as I have usually, but you never know with me in these tours. So let's get into the game, let's go tour this place, and yeah. Okay, so here's the final build in all of its glory and whatnot. As you can see, the little back area. And just to show you really quickly, I kind of like try to replicate like the thicker border, although I didn't like the roofing as thick as that. I was trying to replicate that and like the design of the roof, while also trying to like keep up the original design while also adding the pool house. So let's get on in. Let's see, has my camera skills improved and whatnot? I don't know quite yet. And yeah, so as soon as we enter, we have our MIA dining table, still missing in action, but we have quite a few clutter items. I really try to add like kids items here and a little bit of everywhere, you know. We have our eating area, the only eating area we have. I'll never let that go. And our kitchen. I don't know, I like the kitchen. Like I said, I used a reference for it and whatnot, but let's move on. Here is our tiny wannabe. I gotta stop. I'm being so mean to my own build. It's nice. It's not as nice as I want it to be. We have our very small living room. It's not ideal for a family, but I feel like this household, it was not designed for this large of a family. I tried. I could have done better. Is all. Let's move on though. Here is the artsy room. I absolutely love this room. I mean, it might be because it's pink, and it's artsy, but we have just a couple stuff thrown up. I left the brick in the back, so it looks like I did keep the high school bricks and whatnot. I wasn't sure. For some reason, I thought I changed it. And then here is their sad dresser with a few of what I imagined like her childhood art pieces. I don't know, or maybe they're just concept pieces, or maybe she wanted to do something more family oriented, like themed or whatever art pieces, whatever it ends up being. There's those on top is what I was envisioning. So let's move on to the kids' room. That's what's next. We have, just as you guys saw, I feel like I didn't add it or change a whole lot from the recording. We just got the desk and whatnot. We have like a couple of seating, the reading nook, and whatnot. Nothing too personalized, just in case I find out something with the kids are unique and whatnot. I didn't want to like, what's it called, like give it too much personality and then they end up, you know, changing all entirely. And then we have here is the military room. I absolutely love this room. I don't know if it's the blue and whatnot and how much the blues match all the way across, even though I use different packs. But I absolutely love this room. We got like, this is like the basement kit, I think. I just felt like it looked really good in here. And yeah, I think next is the infant room. So let's go scoot over here because you guys can see the infant / toddler room. You get a better look of my makeshift changing table, a couple of bits and bobs there. I think this item is so cute with those colors. Those colors are absolutely adorable. And yeah, a spot for your adult to read the books and whatnot, and just 2 little beds and whatnot. No color into reason, just some fun colors. I feel like they match. So I guess here is our bathroom. Nothing too special about it. I try to add like 2 extra bits and bobs in there because, you know, it's a family. You got extra containers, everybody's little things here and there. So I try to get that in there, and a bunch of toothpastes, container, and obviously our extra TP. Like I said, I like extra TP in the bathroom. It sucks when you run out and you don't have any. So let's move on. We have is our kind of like I said, like a little family extra activity room. Pool house. We have a spot to do painting, a couple of artwork pieces up there, fitness spot, and then a spot to play like family game night maybe. Here we have is our other bathroom. I mean, almost identical outside of like 1 or 2 things. And lastly is the last room, which you guys get to see, which is what I'm imagining the one kid will age up into, and this will be their teen room. I'm envisioning they probably want to move out quickly because this house is getting real fast, which is why they moved to the pool house or whatever this is. And trying to get their own space and whatnot, but they probably want to move out. So there is our tour. Honestly, I didn't see anything too, like, outlandish that I didn't know about outside of, you know, like I said, the dining table, but either way, let me know what you guys think, and yeah. And yay, that'll be it for this video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're new to this village, welcome on in, guys. Like I said, I had a lot of fun building this one, even though I'm such a harsh critic to myself. I absolutely do love the look of it. I think it'll help with our gameplay and story ideas with it. But like I said, I would love to hear your guys' opinions and whatnot. Should I stop doing them so dirty and add the table, or am I just being too harsh to myself and it's fine? But either way, I can't wait to get into the gameplay for this. And if you guys don't join us with that, I absolutely do encourage you to. But either way, I totally understand. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!